should we stop? So we're right. So you said you have some joining, right? When is your joining?
Sorry?
So you already got job, right?
I see. I am already working with the company. Just I am moving to another project. That project, so I have to work on BPM, Pega BPM.
Okay, okay, that's fine.
I told you right now, the first onwards I supposed to look into the Pega BPM project. I need to relocate to from currently I'm working based out of Houston, so I need to move to Dallas.
Okay. So how is the market in?
But outside market is so good in US for Pega. Subhash.
Okay. In
They're
US,
asking me to
how is the market for Pega?
they're asking me to do the subcontracting. They're ready to give 150K.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, they're ready to do what is that? This one also. GC everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm still thinking about the subcontracting those all things. Yeah, you're asking something, right?
Yeah, I mean that's just how I'm asking. Like, how is the market for Pega in US?
Pega is very, very good.
Mm.
There are no people for Pega, but
Mm.
companies needed more. Okay, all BPMs, I think so. Most of the customers are moving into Pega,
Mm.
especially in the finance domain and the banking domain.
Mm.
Even Pega systems also don't have resources for their customers.
Mm. Correct.
So resource crunch is there. For LSA, do we require 3 months or 4 months experience
Uh, 2 years experience required.
to come to attend the certification of LSA?
That is just a guideline. They will say it's 2 years of field experience is required, but it's up to, you know.
Field experience, but to Pega experience, they mentioned only 3 months is sufficient. So
3 months never, I think. Field
let me
experience
go through the
Pega only.
academy.
Field experience not like other technology. On Pega only they expect. But
Okay.
I mean, because there are two levels of certifications in LSC. First level is exam by theory can do it and you can go theory. But second part is application building.
What is the
Uh,
application?
Actual application building. They will give some requirement documents and they will give 1 week time and you need to build it in 1 week time and you need to deploy it in server. So it's a end-to-end application. You should have knowledge on each and every topic.
That means they will give cloud-based username, password, everything. Right?
Mm,
Okay.
so should we stop here?
Yeah, I have to complete that certifications also maybe down the line 1 year or 2 years.
Okay. So last time we run the SWIFT connector SWIFT, so we got the response, but the response is in XML. So for that reason we created. Let me run it once again. response is coming, but still in the so for this, for tracking this XML again, we need to parse the XML again. So for that we created same structure. So here the same structure like a new data set, something like this. So now we need to create the parse XML rule. So parse XML will convert the XML structure into clipboard structure. So for that what I am doing is I am going to the new data class, new data set class is there we created last session. This is the class. I'm going to this class and I'm creating a new rule called connectors mapping parse XML. So for creation of XML, we need to find the root element. So here in this part, the root element will become a new data set. You should use the same naming convention here. Whatever the root element name, you need to mention here root element name. And then here I am mentioning parsing parse SOAP result. So this new data set element is already in the class of data new set. So already context is set, and then below this we need to add one more element called. So here node name is always equivalent to the element. The node type is element. Node name you should use the same name whichever is coming in the XML. So you should use the same name table. And then this table is mapped to, already we are in the context of new data set. Within the new data set, we know it is mapped to a table class. We allocated property, register property. So not here. City list. So city list is a of type table only. So we want to this table we want to map it to city list. And then within the city list again we have two more properties. In the table we have two more properties. Those are siblings kind of thing. One is country, one is city. Again you should use the same naming, country. And this country value will be stored in the property of country. And this is city. And this city value will be stored in the property of city. And now if you do this, it will do only first iteration. So if you do it, I mean it will go here, it will go here, it will go here, it will go here, it will stop it here only, because we are not iterating the table. So we are going in the new data set and then table and then country, city and stop it. So I want to repeat this table. So for repeating purpose, I am going to node tab. Here you can see repeating option is there. Click on that. So we are giving an indication to the system saying that even if the table is repeating, so till the end of new data set, end tag is in between new data set end tag, how many tables are there? All the tables we need to pass it. That's what we need to do. Now we come back to activity, and then we need to call the. So here what I am doing, page name, data set, this is of type. I think without this one also it may create. Let's try this. new data set stm, change the context. That is why I'm giving the data set, new data set, because the parse XML is there in this context. I'm creating the page, top level page, and then I'm calling the parse XML, apply parse XML, and then the rule is there in this context. So may give the name parse of result, the source property. What is the source for parsing? So the source property is available in the response. So we need to give the global city dot response dot. This is the input for parsing. Save it. Now after this you can see success, go to clipboard. So response is coming somewhere else. You can see some more page called new data set, new data set. It is the data set. It's not coming. Yeah, you can see here new data set. After new data set, and I can expand it, you can see city list is coming, and you can see this is a page list property. And expand it, you can see all list is coming. Yeah, now once the data is like this, well, the data is fine for me. So once the data is like this, it is easy for me to read the data. So once the data is available like this in the clipboard, again it will display on the UI. So that's how we can display it on the UI. Now this is working fine, the logic is working fine. So now we need to make it more parameterizable. So here, let me run the case. So in this address field, let me go to live UI. This is the main section. Go this way. I'm slightly changing the design here because this is in the data class and my activity is in the work class. So to call that it may be difficult. So what I'm doing is I'm just setting the values. Insert this one only. Dot present address. So for this I need to add one more field like country, so that I can, whenever I change the country, I want to call my service activity. So address 1 and address 2 is there. Let's say in between I will add one more property called country before city, because for the country only I will display cities. Country, creating the property, no, not this one. Address details dot country. Text property, create and close. So done. Now this country you can give drop down or whatever it is, but now we are keeping it as a text input only. And then the city I want to display it as a what we call as a autocomplete, so that because we are getting more number of results, so autocomplete would be sufficient or would be enough. Otherwise, if you give drop down, what happens is that drop down will become very large, and we need to do number of scrolling. So because of that one, we are going for autocomplete, which will suggest the thing. So before this, so we need to call the activity. So for calling the activity, so what I am doing is I am going for actions for the country, because whenever you change the country, I want to call the service, the SOAP service here. So all the SOAP service we have written the logic in the activity, so I will call the activity. So click on change of the address country, and then refresh the section. While refreshing the section, call the activity. The activity name is get cities by country. And now once that is done, so the results will be there in the clipboard. The results will be there in this clipboard. So we need to take this, and we need to get the data from there. New data set. Let me check the clipboard once. What is the new data set? We have city list. So we need to traverse to this page. So this is STM. This is table. This is new data set. I'm just giving the page, so you should give the same page names, otherwise system consider them as new objects. So all data is there on this page, you need to use the same page names. Here I am just using the same pages, and then I am making it as a autocomplete, because for autocomplete you need to give the source. The source is there on the clipboard page, so I am selecting clipboard page, and then I am giving the clipboard page where it is storing, and I want to display city names. So just city. That's it. And then whatever the country name we are giving here, that should be taken as the input for the activity. So here I hard coded this country name, right? So I just change this one. So change this. The value will be storing in the property name. So the property is there in the primary class, applies to class. So I am giving primary keyword. The primary keyword will always point to applies to class property. So primary dot address details. So why I am using primary here is already I am in the default context. So I am in the global city context, which is of type this global weather. But I want to get the properties from the work class, this work line class. So that is why I'm especially using the primary. So if you are in the same context of this, if you don't mention this step page name, this method will execute in the context of this class. This applies to class only. So at that time, no need to mention the primary. Even if you mention, there is no issue. So this is the primary keyword will always point to the applies to class. So I am giving primary dot address details dot country, because I am storing the value in this property. I am taking that property I'm setting to request. Now let's refresh this one. Let me take yeah. Let me let me make it as a 2 rows per a column. Okay, so now country is there, city is there. So now let me try with country first. India first of all. So let's try it, and now so it's taking time. Time is executing. Now click on this, the click down arrow, or you can see all the city names are coming. Jodhpur, Kadapa, everything is coming. Well, Hyderabad Airport, well, okay, everything is coming. Trivandrum, and let me try with a different country. Let me refresh it once, taking more time. It's got stuck. Let me create one more. So here this time I'm giving, let's say, Pakistan. Came very fast. So because we have very less cities in the Pakistan, you can see these are coming. Karachi Airport, Giovanni, something is coming. Let me give a different name. So, but the thing here is we don't know for which country we will get the results, because this is not our service. So we don't know for which country they are providing these cities. Let's try Australia. For Australia also we got. First we have more planes. Salisbury. So Sydney, try with Sydney. So the benefit here is you can try with, you can search it. So Australia, Sydney. So Australia, the capital of Australia, Sydney. So Sydney is coming in. It's Australia cities only. Sydney Airport. So if you try with some other country, let's say there may be Myanmar. Let's try Myanmar. It's also a country. Should not delete it. I think it's taking more time to delete it also. So today we'll discuss the SOAP integration, SOAP service as well. So let me give Myanmar something. Myanmar, maybe it may not come. So results are some no results for this. For Myanmar, no results are coming. It's empty. So let me give United States. So we cannot guarantee for all the countries we are getting cities because maybe they may be giving only for the top countries only, not for every country. So if it is taking more, then if the list is more, I think it's taking more time. I think for United States the list is very large. So now click on down arrow. You can see the list is, it became very small, the scroll bar. Let's wait for Dallas. So Dallas, Anderson Airport, Dallas Love Field. So everything is there. Then yes. So this many cities are there: Dallas, Red Bird Airport, Dallas Fort Worth, International Airport, Love Field, Anderson.
Subhash?
Yeah.
I'm not able to see any change results, what you're telling now. I think the session got stuck up.
You're not able to see my screen.
I'm able to say the thing is there is no motion. There is no movement at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're telling Dallas, those all things, right? From the city.
You're not able to see that?
Yeah, I'm not able to see that.
Let me try, let me start it again. Now let me know so you can see this.
Is this slowness is so service issue?
No.
Let us assume it's a service issue, or else our parsing is taking.
Which slowness you are talking
about? Once you given the country, so to populate the cities.
Yes. Because the list is very large. If you see the clipboard content, you get to know how many cities are coming for US. Even for loading is taking time.
Yeah, it will take so many cities, but
I can see more than 1454 cities are giving. So to load that system is taking the time.
But service will not display time, right? Service will return your results immediately.
Service is returning the results, but we need to display that in the drop down or somewhere, right? So for that it will take the time.
Suppose similar scenario is there in the real time to improve the performance. So how could we handle it?
Here, I mean, in this case, if you want to display the same countries and same cities, you cannot do anything here. So the other alternative approach for this is, instead of displaying directly, so right now we are handling directly on the UI. Right? So generally, what the people will do is, generally people will run the batch. I mean, in the medium time, like in the midnight or somewhere, they will get all the cities for all the whichever the countries, and they will store it somewhere. Right?
Yeah, they will persist in the table, then you will populate from the table.
Yes,
database or something concept, right?
Yes. So there is that is, I mean, service will give, but how you handle is important. So if you want immediately on the screen, then this definitely need to at the cost of performance only need to do it.
If it's kind of a stock price or else currency conversion, then no way at all. So definitely we have to go the approach whatever we do.
Yes.
It's kind of a that means so the data is not frequently changing. Then so you are suggesting persist on the table and refer it from the table. Right?
Anyway, data won't change very frequently because it's a static data only. Because cities won't change.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, got it.
Okay. And then that is about total SOAP integration, how to do from the UI part. So getting the values from the SOAP, and if parsing is required into parsing, sometimes parsing may not be required in the real time. But here, this is a public web service, so parsing is required, additional parsing is required. So we did the parsing and we are making, so our final aim is to be, so creating the clipboard page. because Pega can understand only clipboard pages, so we need to make the clipboard pages at any cost. And then once the data is ready on the clipboard page and whatever you want to do, we can do that. Okay, that is about SOAP integration. Now we will see SOAP service. So if you want to create the service on your own, so how can we do that? If you want to create the service on your own, how can we do that? Now let's say in our scenario, we have claims and we are storing the data into database. We are storing whenever you raise the claim, so we are storing that claim details in the database. Already we have seen that in the WebGSave. So somebody from the outside system, they want to get the customer name and the product IDs. I mean, they will give the claim number, and for outside people, they want to get the they want to get the customer name. They will pass the claim ID and they want to get customer name on product list. That's it. So for that, because this is running, the data is there in the Pega application, some other application want to get the information. So there should be some integration. So here we are creating the SOAP integration, SOAP service. So our service will provide the response for the others. So what is the response? If they give the claim ID, my expectation is claim ID. If they give the claim ID, I will respond with customer name and the product IDs. So for that, to create the SOAP service, so it will be like this. See the diagram. So in this case, Pega will be at this site. This is Pega application, or else this is also fine, Pega application, and here other application will be there. And then here this application will send the request. So this other application will send a request. This is exactly reverse for the connectors. So in the connector, PRPC acting as a host, right? In the service, in the connector, PRPC acting as a requester or a client. So the PRP is sending a request and service is giving the response. Now in that case, service is a host and Pega application is a client. But in this service case, this is service SOAP. In the service SOAP, we are creating a SOAP service. In this case, other application will give the request and then Pega will give the response. Pega will give the response here. So this will send the request according to our structure. Again, this structure, if both applications are Pega, no issues. I mean, both applications can understand this one structure. But if it is some other technology, so they will give response request in the XML. So again, we need to convert the XML into. We always take other scenario which is coming from some other application, some other technical application. So we need to convert this XML into clipboard. So again, parse XML, convert XML into clipboard. So let's assume say is XML. And then this XML, this clipboard format will be sent to this. So clipboard format can easily be understood by the Pega, so no issues. And then Pega will analyze that request and then will give the response. Let's say this is also giving the response in the clipboard format only. But other applications are expecting the response in the XML, so they cannot understand clipboard. So again here, send response. And then here we need to convert that here again we are sending the response in the XML, so we need to convert from XML to clipboard. Sorry, we are sending the response in the clipboard. This is in clipboard structure. Now we need to convert the clipboard into XML. So for converting the clipboard into XML, we need to use stream XML convert clipboard into XML. Okay, and then it will go this way. This is the SOAP service. The only difference is reversing the reversing the content. So if you see the SOAP's connector SOAP here, Pega application is sending the request and we are using stream XML That is, we are streaming the XML request here, but here in this case it is a reverse. So XML is streaming is coming in the below. This is streaming XML stream because we are performing the XML. This is parse XML. So this is how the things will happen. So we need to take this. No, to create that kind of integration, again for that we don't need to do manually anything. So just create the tools for that again. So let's go to Designer Studio. So by giving the service, you need to have the requirement. So here my requirement is, so I am creating my own requirement. So somebody will send the claim ID. So I want to respond with the customer name and the product IDs. So here for that I am going to integration on services. Last time we go for integration, so connector. Now we go for services and then service wizard. The service wizard will create all the necessary work. Here my thing is I will write the activity, so I will invoke the activity to give the response. So we can use the service for three purposes. One is to create the work object directly. So sometimes what happens is here we are manually creating the case. So through service also we can create the work object. So for that purpose you can go for create and manage work. Create and manage work means, so to create the service case. So to create the work object you can go for this one, but here in our requirement we are not creating any service, we are giving the data is there, so we are giving that existing data. To get the existing data for the request I am invoking an activity role, so I am going for activity roles. The service type is SOAP, select it and next. And activity class, where the activity is. So for now what I will do here is let's go to work layer. What are the activities we have? So here what I will create one more activity in this class and then I will give the class name. So I will give one more activity called get claim details. Get claim details is my activity name. I don't do anything here, just I will create this placeholder because I need to give the activity name there itself. This is my class name. Later also you can give, so here you need to give the class name where the activity is residing. And click next. And then it display all the activities. You need to select which activity you are using for this service purpose. So I am using this get claim details. Click next. So for this actually you can create, you can form the parameters. There are no parameters for this basically. So you can click next. You can form the request. You can see primary input. What is the input for this? So you can give the input and you can also map the request. So let's say my input here is claim ID. So this is not there. Let's say product ID. Climate products, everything is not there here. If something is not there, so these properties are coming from your class, this work class. So if your requirement is something else, then you can later also you can create the request and responses. Let's say for now I will take one value product ID, let's say that I will change, and then here my response is also not there. Let's take this product category. Click next. And then this is a new configuration for service package. What is a service package? Service package is nothing but a deployment information. All the deployment information. So we need to deploy this service, right? Deploy means we need to where this service is running, what is the WSDL file. So for SOAP service, WSDL file is required. So which we give to other people. So what is the WSDLs and what is the operations we have in this WSDL. So everything will be stored in this service package. So we can use same service package for multiple services. It's not like for each service we need to use one service package. For multiple operations, for multiple services, you can use one service package. That means that one service package may have any number of operations. Each service is one operation. So one service, so that is called WSDL. For one WSDL, if you want to provide multiple operations, then you can use single service package for all the SOAP services. So anyway, there is no service package for us so far. I'm creating a new one. So this is also a rule, so that will be stored in this rule set. This is service package name, so just change to climb service package. Or just take climbs service package itself. So stateless and state, we have two types of processing mode. Stateless means everything, every request will be treated as a new request. That is, I mean, even if the data, even if once you respond or one not responded, every request will be treated as a new request. So in that case, you can go for stateless. So stateful, what happens is once the request is done, so if you give the same request again, so it will give the same response. It won't go to server and get the data. So that is called stateful. The status of the existing response will be maintained somewhere, and then the stateless, I mean, every request will be treated as a new request, and then it will be responded likely. So we are going for stateless. We don't need any authentication for this. And then the suppress show HTML, the meaning of suppress show HTML is in the activities. We are calling some activity for the service. So in the activity, if you use any show HTML method, so we have show HTML method is in the activity. If you use that, we are saying even if you use, don't execute that. That is called suppress show HTML, because show HTML will display the web page, but service activities won't display anything. It will execute internally. So that is why the meaning of this one is you can use the same rule, same activity for your logic, business logic purpose as well as for the active service purpose. Even if you use HTML, show HTML in the methods, so at the service side, you can stop them by using this by clicking this button. Okay, and I click next. Now all the rules are created. You can, this is the rule names, everything is created, and click finish. So now this wizard created the service SOAP rule. You can check that in the client class. So this is a WSDL file. So however, we connected to WSDL file, so we are using some WSDL from some public web service. In the same way, other systems, so other applications should connect to this WSDL file. So we need to give this WSDL file to them, so then they can connect to this my system. They can connect to my system and they can do that. This is service package name. So if you open service package, and I will open what is that service rule. Open service rule on service package. So this is clients is my service package. If you see, this is kind of WSDL deployment information. What are the methods we have in this service package? So it is equivalent to the, for one web service, you can provide any number of operations. So each operation will be stored here. So this is one method, one operation. Click climb details. So if you have some other requirement, you can use the same service package for all the climbs. For all the climbs that are required, I can store it in the same service package going forward. So that I can use the same WSDL file for accessing all the methods. So this is a WSDL file. You can do this one. WSDL file is there. So everything will be there in this what we call in the WSDL file here. Save it and go to service. Here you can see what is the primary page. That means when the request comes, in which context the activity will run. This is the primary page. And when I send the request, in which page the data will be stored. The data will be stored in this page name. So this is the page name. it will contain the request details, and this is the class name of that request page. Okay, so by default system will give this name. If you want to change, you can also change this page name. I'm accepting the same thing, and then this is the activity. This is where we're actually writing the logic. And then here coming to request now. For this we need to provide we need to get the request, and we need to get the response, right? So already some XML is created, but this is not our actual XML. We give something else different. So here I am removing it. So I will remove this. My request basically. Oh, this is the issue. If you remove it, this is changing, right? This won't work out, so I will delete this entire role. So I will create my own one. The request I need to go for. So here I want to build everything in the XML. So what I am doing here, if you want to create XML, you can go for XML literal. Other, if you want to send normal scalar properties as a request, you can. A lot of scalar properties are available here. You can select them. But here I go for XML literal. So the name is request, climb request, description, map to is XML parser. Then here you need to give, you can write the rule name. So my rule name is map request. Get climb details request. So I'm creating it. So there what? I'm creating it. What is the root element name? So the root element name here I'm taking it as a climb request. So generally this name should be the root element name. Whatever you're mentioning here, if you don't mention anything, P by default will be your root element name. Create and open. Now in the climb request, this is the top root element name. In this I want to add one more. It is called climb ID. So because I am expecting climb ID as my response, as my request, and this is mapped to PYID. So PYID will be there. So it will map it to PYID. Climb request dot climb ID will be stored in the climb PYID. Save it. Does it need to do anything here? And then if you click down arrow, it will display climb request. Okay, response request. Yep. Here, if you are using XML there, this is fine. Okay, this is not there. Okay, we need to create it. This is also we are using map from XML stream rule. Say map response here. Or you can say climb response. Create the rule climb response. XML type is map from. This is map from XML type map from to give here. So when you are creating XML stream role, the XML type should be map from. And then climb response. In the climb response, I want to give 3 results. So I'm adding 3 responses. So one is climb ID, the source property is again PYID, and then second thing is customer. For the customer, I want to set only full name. So here you can check that customer details are already available. Customer. Within the customer, I want to add one more element. So later if you want to add some more details, you can add it. So for now I am taking only full name for the customer. Full name, and this is mapped to full name of the property. So and this is products, and then here we can map to product details dot PYID, so we can say PYID, or else if you don't want to use existing properties, I will take some out of the box properties. PY temporary text. You can use any property. You can also create new property. Generally, what people will do is they will also create for request and response. They create two separate properties for request and response to handling these kind of things. But here we have limited number of properties, so no need to create extra properties. You can use existing properties only. We just need to remember to which property we are setting. So here we are using PYID. Here we are using full name. Here we are using temporary text. So we should set the response to the same property so that this XML will take the same values and then to create a XML. And go back to climb, and here get climb response, save it. Okay. So the name, they are saying namespace, so go here and here you need to give the namespace. The namespace should be our this one. So where it is running, you need to give the namespace where service is running. Fine, save it. That's what it's saying. The namespace is missing. Save. Now everything is fine. So I created stream XML, I created parse XML, and everything is fine. Now I need to test the logic. I need to write the logic for that. So I have created the activity. So this activity, we need to write the logic. So what the logic we need to do? The request will be stored in this. Where is that? In this page. So I need to take that page name to the activity level. So I will define that here. So I take the same class, get climb details. So this is my page name and this is my class name, and then go to steps. Here first I need to set the values. So I need to form the request, and then so request is there in this page name. Request is there in this page name. So I need to set the climb ID. So before that I need to create one more page called temp climb details. Temp climb. So this temp climb is mapped to, so this should be, ideally we need to get the data. Once we get the climb ID, we need to get the data from the database. Getting the data from the database, we need to use the corresponding class name. So we created some integration class. I will use the integration class int climb products. So this page will contain all the details. Before this, let me, service page is fine. Let me insert below, that is fine. Property set, basically here should use temporary climb dot climb ID. So climb ID is a primary key. I need to set that. So that is there in the my service page. My service page will contain the request details. So I am setting the request, I am storing the request in the PYID property. So I am storing this PYID into claim ID. So once I store this, once I set the claim ID, I will get the data from the database. For getting the data from the database, I will use OBJ open. So here I want to get only single record. So I will use OBJ open, and then here directly I think this step is not required basically. So directly you can use OBJ open, and here we can set it same thing anyway, because we are setting anyway here, so no need of setting there. You can set it here directly. I commented first step. So I am taking the request from the service and I am setting to claim ID and I am opening the object from the database. Now this temporary claim will have all the details. Now I have to say I need to form the request, form the response. Here response is very simple again. We need to set property set. We need to set the response to same service page, my service page. I am giving the context, and then here first we need to set the values to temporary my service page dot PYID is the claim ID only. Temporary page dot claim ID we can use, and then I am setting it to customer details dot full name. So whatever the properties you are using there, you should use the same name, same properties, and this is there in the temporary claim dot customer name. And then we need to set product. What is the property used here? Product temporary py temp text. Should use the py temp text. Py temp text, and then here I want to store product details. Temp claim dot product list. So this product list I am storing into py temp. You can also create one more property called product list, but I want to use out of the box properties. So I am setting values. Now, so I set the values to clipboard only. Now service will taking care of converting this clipboard into XML. Now run everything. You can also test it, not from server activity directly, you can test it from the service. You can also run the service, SOAP service, run it, and then here you can see a request claim request literally is coming, but we need to go for supply SOAP envelope. So here you can see claim ID is coming. So I am saying the claim ID I am passing. Claim ID is my request. Let me check in the database what are the values we have for the claim. So we have, let's say, C531. So C531 is my claim ID. So you need to send that value as a request, and then execute it. If it is working fine, you should get the response in the XML. Otherwise, we will get some errors. So everything is success. You can see the response. So this is actual response. Let's take it into some notepad. See, here is coming very. Let me shortcut it. Claim ID, customer, products. You can see here. So I set only 3 requests. You can see here. So full name is not coming. Only claim ID is coming perfectly. Customer is also not coming. Products is also not coming. That means the values are not coming. So we will see that why values are not coming. Structure is coming, but values are not coming. So why values are not coming? There may be issue with logic only. So we need to only claim ID is coming, but the rest of the values are not coming. Maybe issue with claim ID, everything is customer is there, products, py temp text. So products dot py temp text. So here we map it to products is fine and temp text is fine, py temp text. But in the activity, py id is coming, only claim ID is coming, but customer name and these things is not coming. Let's try this one. Let me hard code the value for now here. C540. So you can test text like this, C531. C-531. Save it. Now execute from here only. I'll run it. Success. Go to clipboard. Now somewhere temporary page will be there. Temp kind. Here I am getting all the things. Why I am not getting there? That's fine. We'll trace it once again. Okay. We'll remove simulation page. So this is test page, and I will trace this. We didn't discuss about tracer, but let's see. I'll then execute it. 530 531. Execute it. I'm not getting any errors, and this time I got. Maybe there's some space is there, because of that one it's setting empty values. You can see now response is coming. I want to trace as well. So claim ID is 531, full name is John Brown, and then products is this ones. So we are getting all the values. Now the consumable application, what they need to do, just they need to use the visual file to connect to system, and they need to send the claim ID. They will send the response in the XML. However they want to parse in their technology, they can do that. That is the service. So you need to take the request and then you have to give the response. So any doubts here?
Subhash, this service will be SOAP service, right? We are exposing.
Yes.
So can we expose RESTful also?
Yeah, you can do all. Yeah, we can serve it. It provides all the things. So whatever we have a lot of services, how many connectors are there? That many services will be there obviously.
Okay.
Whatever the so REST service is also available here. SOAP REST. REST is there. SOAP is also available here. So if you want to give the response, just select the REST here. That's it. So while generating the wizard, let's select the REST and try that one. If you face any issues, I will help there anyway.
So what about the security actually? So the thing is two-way security and service perspective security, and one more thing is so we created the integration object consumed the country service, right?
Correct.
So that case, if provider is so having the some some certification enabled, private key enabled, or some things should be there, right?
Private key enabled. For what?
Yeah. So if they enable any security, so at SSL certificate or something should be enabled, right? At provider.
Clear that. So we don't need to bother if if they need any if the services requires any security, while creating the connector rules, system will create the authentication profiles.
Okay. In that authentication profile, can we import the certification as well? If the provider will give you the certification.
Yes, we can give here.
I'm
also
talking about certification means SSL certification, secured socket layer certifications, provider will provide, right?
Yeah, include certifications here also. For our service also, if you want to provide if you need authentication. So this requires authentication. In the same way, you can see use TSL SSL REST. This is for only REST only.
Yeah.
And here you can see custom authentication. You can write your own authentication service for that if you want. So if you want to use basic authentication, you just need to provide username and password.
Okay.
In the same way, however, you require a service like this. So if other person also creates any authentication, system will automatically create the authentication profiles. Connect SOAP. If you open our Connect SOAP, because that is a public WSDL file, so I mean that doesn't require any authentication, obviously. So here you can see authentication. So here we don't require any authentication. System is not using any authentication. If you want to use authentication, you can write your authentication profile. So if you open existing authentication profile, any existing authentication profile, it will be like this.
Okay, at that time we will go for the authentication wizard and will
Yes.
generate the authentication. That's right.
It's the basic one only. You can see a lot of authentication profiles are there. So which one they are using accordingly, you need to configure.
Okay.
So that is about service. Now we will see how to use the tracer. What is the purpose of this tracer? So this is the second debugging tool. So we have seen this debugging tool like clipboard.
Can we, before going to the tracer, can we discuss about the listeners also? File listener.
File listeners is again a service. So I need to have the file. Yeah, file listeners we cannot configure basically. So what we can create the file service and you can read the data from the file service and you can upload the data into some way. But file listeners is not working in my local system. I tried that already some existing batch. So because maybe it's not enterprise edition. So generally we keep some location. So when you keep some location, when you place some file in that location, so we need to automatically listener should automatically trigger the activity. That is the main intention of using the listeners.
Yeah, that is true.
Generally, this is my local system and server is running on my local system, and I need to use my own my own directories, right? Yeah, the listeners are not working. So, but file service will work. You can you can take the file, you can take some CSV file or something, you can parse it and you can store the data into some, in some database or whatever you want. That you can do, but file listeners won't work in the personal edition. I tried already a couple of times for other batches, it's not working. Okay, so file service, if you want, you can just create the service and then I will write the logic for that. So do the same thing. So service, it may be service, any service, you need to run the same tool. Integration, services, service wizard. Everything is same, just you need to select the file service here. Okay, system will create all the rules, and we need to build the logic for that. But building the logic, I will take care when once you run that one. Okay, but listeners is not working. So listener we need to configure. Maybe there may be restriction in this personal edition also. So it's not by enterprise edition. So some features may not work at integration level. Is that fine?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Now tracer. So we have seen other debugging tool called clipboard already. So the clipboard basically will be useful, for seeing for initial debugging. I can say if something goes wrong initially, first we will check the clipboard only whether the data is correctly populating. So the data is correctly coming as per my expectation. So we'll check everything here. If still we are not able to do the things, what we can do? We can go for tracer. Tracer will give you the step-by-step execution of your actions. It will give you tracer. Will give step-by-step execution of rules. For executing data transform, in transform we have multiple steps. For executing activity, we have multiple steps. So It will give step-by-step execution. What is happening in the first step? What is happening in the second step? What is happening in the third step? And it will execute all the rules. Whatever the rules are being executed, you can have a lot of controls. You can do a lot of configurations with the tracer, which rule you want to execute, with the rule sets you want to execute, what type of exceptions you want to trace. So you can do all the things here. It will give you the step-by-step execution of each and every rule for that particular action. Let's say I am running the tracer now, so I am creating the case. So this is action. So when I create the case, internally a lot of rules being executed. So I want to know those rules are what are the rules that are executed. And do remember, when you're running the tracer, system will take your lot of system resources, because it should log it everything here. Because of that reason, system will take a lot of time to load the content. So the performance of our application will be reduced. So now we can see for the single action, for that action, whatever I am doing here, for that action, nearly 5,388 rules are events are executed. 5,388 events are executed. The line number indicates how many rules are executed. The thread where that is running in the interaction count. So how many interactions it is making with the server. By the time we are executing this event, how many interactions this browser is making to the server. This is number of interactions count. How many number of rules are executed? 170 rules. What is the methods? We have seen this. Step is what is the context? Step number. So if you are executing data transforms and activities, this is applicable. So they will give the step number, which step is executing. What is the method? What is the status of that particular method? It's a good, fail, warn, different status will be there. We'll see that. So what is the event type? It is activity, when rule, what exactly we are doing here. So it will give you that one. Is activity end or when rule evaluation or some meta transform begin. So it will give the description of the event type. And what is the evaluation elapsed time? So how much time it is taking for executing that particular method. You can see the timings as well. So most of the times it will be less than 1 second. It will be in seconds only. Everything will be 0 point means it is less than 1 second. And then this is like what is the rules? What is the rule name? You can try to see the rule name and what is the rule set. Okay. And now you can see for this single action, lot of rules are executed, and this includes not only your rules, because we are building an application on top of Pega, lot of Pega rules will execute internally. So you can see them. It starts with Pega, all are Pega rules only. Our rules will be very lesser. Our application rules will be very lesser. Is tracing all the things. But during debugging, you don't need to trace all the Pega rules, because Pega rules will be obvious, will be perfect. There won't be any issues with Pega rules. You start with your rule sets. If you want to do configurations, with the rule sets to trace, you need to go to settings. So before that, let's see here, play. This play, when you click play, it's now tracing it. It's indication for the, now the trace is in active status. If you want to clear the content of this one, if you want to clear it, so click clear. So everything will be cleared. Now go to settings. Doing settings, make it clear, pause it, clear, settings. And here, now if you see, all the rule sets are selected here. So you can see rule sets to trace. So you need to select. Now it selected all the rule sets. That is why it's tracing all the rules. But I don't need all the rule sets. Definitely I need only my rule sets. So select only my application related rule sets. That's it. Now if you run the same scenario, running the case, now you can see how many rules are executed. It will be very less. So very fast is coming, but that means very less rules are traced. Oh, sorry, I didn't play it. You need to play that one and trace it. You can see only 30 events are executed. Earlier it is 5,000 plus. Now it is 30, because we are eliminating the rule sets which are not required for me for my debugging purpose. So you need to select which rule sets you want to trace, so that you can concentrate more. Whichever you require, rather than taking all the rule sets and all the rules. Whichever the rule sets you require, you can select it, and you can see everything is coming now. This is your rule set. WMFW. Now how can we do some kind of debugging is, you can see the step number is coming. So this is my first step. So here I am doing some kind of, let's say, pivot somewhere I am doing initializing customer. So this is, I'm doing one data transform. If you open this data transform, this is my data transform. Here I'm updating the page. Here I'm updating the page. This is straightforward. There is no issues. I'm just setting the values. Let's say we're doing some calculations. Let's say we're doing some calculations here. In that case, the calculation is not coming properly. You want to check it here. When I see the clipboard, the calculation is, the output calculation is something different than my expectation. So you want to check the step-by-step evolution. So in this step, somewhere we are using some concatenation. Here I am doing some, again I am deleting the result and I am setting different value. In that case, you will see the step-by-step what is happening. So this is started here, initialize customer. In the update page action is started. Update page, that is action name. You can compare this one, update page. So by starting the update page, you can see the context is customer. By the time it is nothing, empty is there. No values are set for the first step. For the first action, 1, there is no values are there. After first action, set actions, 1.1 to 1. We can see here 1.1 to 1.5. So now if you check, still the values are not there. Now this is begin. This is action begin. The action is not ended here. So you can see the results when at the time of action begin. At the time of action begin, no values are there. But at the time of action ending, the action is ending here. If you see the clipboard now, you can see all the values are coming. So like that, you can check what is happening in each step-by-step execution will be given by the system. You need to analyze this one. If any parameters are you are passing, let's say here you're not passing any parameters. Of course, system have a lot of parameters internally. If you want to see the parameter page, click on the step method here, and you can see parameter page name is there. Click on this. You can see these are the parameters. So you can use these parameters. It may be your application parameters or it may be any parameters. All the parameters will be stored on this page name. Okay. If you're passing any parameters and if you check the parameter whether the parameter is correctly passing or not, to this activity or to this data transform, whatever you are analyzing, you need to click on parameter page name, and here you can check the parameter name, which parameter name you passed it. And this is the value, this is the parameter name. So you need to check the parameter name and you need to check the clip, this step, and you need to analyze what is whether parameter is correctly populating, whether values are overriding somewhere in the steps. You can check like that. Okay. Now we have a lot of other options here in the settings. Let's see settings. You can see this is just like a rule set trace. You can also trace. So by default activities, you can see events to trace. By default, data transforms, activities, when rules are selected. Activities, data transforms, when rules are selected. So if you want to trace some other events, some other rules, you can see the list of rules are there here. So you can see stream rules, I mean like sections kind of thing. And then if you want to stay the decision tables, decision trees, or declare expressions, or database queries, you can also trace database queries. So whatever you want to trace, you can, I mean this is for initial debugging, but sometimes you want to go for in details of the details, you can go for DB query as well. When you're getting the data from the database, what is the query internally is forming? System internally will be querying the so what is the queries it is forming? You can select this one. When you do this one, system will do the querying. You can see started. I mean even for if you do some action here, let's say some next. If you're getting any data from the database, it will execute it. So you can see a lot of database execution, database things are coming. This is coming from the table. You can see here. This is insert command. We are inserting the data into this database table, and you can see the SQL query as well. If something is not storing in the database, as per your expectation, you can go for DB queries. How the DB query is forming? Is it forming correctly DB? I mean, for this again you need a DB skills. Otherwise, you cannot analyze this one. So whether it is forming correct insert query or not, you can see this one. Like that, you can whatever the things you want to analyze, you need to in that context you need to do that one. You can see the what is happening.
Subhash, one query is Subhash. Here just before we open the DB query, right? But there, it's kind of a parameterized query.
Parameter
right?
query. We cannot pass.
We are not able to see the values, right? If you wanted to see the values, what values are going into the backend.
See
do we
here,
have to enable anything?
I'm not getting what values we're talking about.
Can you open that query?
Yeah, this one, right? Yeah.
So are we able to see the values also?
Here you're saying
Down.
this one.
Oh, okay, got it. Down. Current timestamp only I'm able to see. Okay.
This value is taken, so this pega null values are there. This will be taken to this one. This is the date.
That means so values are going into SQL inserts.
Yes. So this is the
section,
query.
right? Okay.
The values that is going to be inserted.
Okay, got it.
And like that, you can analyze this one. So whichever the events you want to trace, but always think about, so the performance of your application will be reduced when you are tracing number of the more the events you trace, the performance of your application will be reduced.
Okay. But this trace actually, whenever it's required, that time only we will go and
yes,
check the tracing, right? Like a debugging of application, right?
Debugging of the issue. Yes.
Okay.
So when doing in the production, you should take care of. I mean, generally it will be happening in production. So if something happens suddenly in the production, so if you use all the events, what happens? The performance of your production system will be reduced. So while doing debugging in production systems, you should be very careful. So whichever is exactly required, you need to select those events only. And then this break events. So this break events, as the name indicate, when do you want to pass the break? What we call tracer. So let's say I am executing an activity, and that particular step I want to focus more on one step. I have one activity which is having 100 steps. I don't want focus on all the steps. My focus, I analyze it further. My focus is a particular step. So you can select the step name. I mean activity name, first activity class STM. So let's say step STM is not coming. Let me copy paste from there. Let's say this. Let me take the activity to run the case. Internally, I'm calling the service, right? So I want to trace that one. Let me give this copy. Go here, settings, breakpoints. It's the drop down. We need to STM hyphen scheme. So work climb. So I want to say cities by country. So I have a lot of, let's say there are a lot of activity in that. Let have a lot of steps are there. I want to break only. I want to concentrate on only on third step. Let's say set the break. So now when we set the break, the system will highlight that step. Anyway, everything will be traced, but system will highlight that particular step. Let me run the case now. Now let me give India again. If we go here, tracer, you see, it's stopping here. It's not going further. So because my concentration is on step number 3. So that is why system won't go. You can see still is rotating. That means that system is not passing. System is not going further. You need to manually play it. Once your analysis is completed, you need to. So this is highlighted with yellow color. That means that my focus is on here. You can analyze this whatever you want to do and click play it. Now it will go further. It will play it. It will go further again. Now it's completed. So if you want to focus on particular things on particular step, then you can use breakpoints.
Okay.
If you want to remove it, just remove this one. Close. Now again clear it. And then watch. Here also, breakpoints for activities. We cannot do other things. Watch. So this watch will be useful generally when you want to concentrate on particular properties. Some property is being changed. You want to know at which action it is changing. At which action it is changing. So you can here you are setting the value, or let's say I want to focus on city. When the city is changing, I want to see where city is changing. So you can give the page name py work page dot address details is my page name. I want to focus again. I want to here my focus is on property, not on activities. So some property is not getting the value as per my expectation. So here there is a city property. Let's say you need to give the city property name here. The city property is missing. Set watch. Now again let's say now Pakistan is there. Oh, what is happening? Error, exception. Activity begin, activity end. City name. Maybe I should not use dot notation. City. Let's remove this existing one.
So that's similar to front-end page properties. So can we trace it the flow rules as well?
Yeah, you can use flow rules as well. So you can select the flow rule in the go to settings. You can add the rules. You can see here flow is coming. Flow. Select the flow. The flow also will be traced. Otherwise, let's take email property or what where you are changing. Let's say I want to concentrate on email vault, on py work page email vault. When this email vault, okay. This is on py work page. So set break. This remove this. Email vault is there, and then tracer is running. That's fine. Now run the case.
You given top level PY web page means it's kind of a top level page, right? So can we give our exact page?
Yeah, you should always give the step page. You can see step. What are the step pages coming? You need to give the step page. Maybe top level page, maybe emerald page, any page. So even on top level page also we can set the values, right? I think it's not. I think this I need to go for this level, right? That's what you are saying.
Yes.
Yeah. So whichever the property you want to trace, to go that level. That is true. Email vault.
That means tracer will not take a headache to look into other rules evaluation.
Rules evaluation?
That means PY web page means so many rules are running, right?
For that is my primary page for case processing. All the case data will give a work page, right?
Yeah, what I'm trying to tell you is so exactly whenever we reach to customer page, so tracer will have to capture the particular logs only.
Yes, system will analyze where the property is changing. System will highlight that part.
Yeah.
That's just like indication for me where it is changing. It's not indicating anything here.
If you give exact page name, if you give top level page, there is no difference at all, like education wise or performance wise.
You need to traverse to that part. So wherever you are actually changing that level, you need to see. Other way is, let's go to next step. We'll see some other things are there. So here what I will do, I want to check this product ID. Let's say I want to trace this product ID, product details. Watch py work page dot product details. Here PYID. Set the watch. Now let's say I'm selecting one. Nothing is traced actually. So let's say add to climb. It's not highlighting anything because this is different.
So generally it will highlight in some other color.
Yes,
It reaches
same
particular
color.
property.
Maybe because it's not changing in this context rules. So whenever the rules are executed, only in those rules, if it is modified, then only it will highlight.
Which color it will get? Yellow color something?
Yellow only. Everything is yellow only. So I'm not getting correct way because we are not doing much calculation here. We're setting the values. That is why we are not getting. So when you set the values through, through interface, user interface, nothing will be there in the logic. No rules will be executed, basically. During logic, if you are changing any values, that only the tracer can trace. We are capturing some values on the UI, so there is no tracer required for that. You can anyway see that one on the screen. So if you are changing the value in between the logic, in the logic if you are changing, then that only the tracer can trace. But it is not tracing exactly. Maybe I'm giving the page name. We'll see. Just try this one like this. I'm not getting any way here in this.
That means read operations will not be traced.
Read operations means, from UI, no, it will not be traced. So what is the use of tracing? Anyway, you can see that on the UI, right? I know what is there, I know what is this, what is there. So why do we need tracing again? If you're changing this, again we need to trace that one. If this value is changing, so where it is changing? At that time we need to, there is a value of debugging. If you're taking the value on the UI and storing the same value on the clipboard, there is no use of tracing. Tracing is not required at all for that.
So while displaying this page for read operation, so tracer will not show us how this value is coming?
No. Tracer is for executing the rules only. What is the rules you are executing? We want to see the section names. You can see the section names. You can trace the section names as well.
Okay.
But it won't show like which properties you are tracing, which properties are displaying, like that. It won't show like that. Generally we use stream rules just for to know what stream rules is executing. Stream rules. Select it, and if we go next, finish. A lot of streams will be displayed. You can see stream rules, stream begin py work page. This is the stream rule. Multiple stream rules are coming. It will just display the context. It won't display the values. You can see the parameter page name, those names, but you cannot see the actual values. You can also again see the same clipboard only. So by checking the py work page, you don't need to come to here. You can see the clipboard. This is the step page. The same step page is available in the clipboard. You can check the clipboard. Stream rules, we use stream debugging just for to know what are the stream rules are executing. So these are the stream rules. So you can get to know whether the correct stream rule is executing or not. So it won't be useful for some other purpose. Okay. And then we have one more important here, like the tracer. We have one more thing called remote tracer. So this remote tracer generally will be used in the production environments. Let's say some customer is facing the issue, and the customer is always raising the SR request, saying that when I'm doing something, I'm getting very low response. So something he's doing. So what we can do, we can ask him to perform the same thing, and what we will do at the back end, at the administrator side, is we will trace his session. So this will be useful to trace the other sessions. Let's say I will tell you real time. So this is administrator, and somebody is logging. Let's say user is logging in. Some user is logging into the system. And this user is facing the issue. Some issue is facing. Now I want to trace this user session. From the developer perspective, I want to trace this user session. So what is happening, I want to know. So here what I will do, I will start the tracer. Go to remote tracer, Now it will display the user details as all the browsers. So whenever whoever is logged into the system through browser, so the details will be displayed here with user details. So now I want to trace this browser user, select it, and then you can see the credentials as well, who is logged in, what is the username, everything he can see as administrator, and select it. Now he can trace, the administrator can state whatever user is doing. So now if you create the case, there as administrator he can trace your things. Okay. So like this you can trace other user session. This will be useful basically in the production environment if somebody is facing the issue to analyze his context. In his context what is happening, you can see this one. Okay. In the remote it will be useful to trace other user sessions. You can also use your code developers what he is doing. You can also trace his session as well if required. Okay, but main purpose of this one is to do the debugging for the clients. So what the client is exactly facing, we can ask him to do the action, same action, and internally we'll debug that one. Okay, and you can also save the logs. Save this one, and for the future purpose, this will be saved in the XML format if you save it. So that is about tracer. So anything else you want to read?
Yeah, see, this is the tracer, right? So generally, see, while in the production, so while users are being used our application, so general logs should be generated, right? Like system log and what is it?
That is logs are different, so you can see the
so
logs.
So particular time, so some issue was there. User might have raised some ticket, so we may have to look into that. And
yes, yes.
so we may have to go the logs and see the particular time. So where could we see that?
So here this is just like a runtime evaluation of the rules. You cannot, if you want to see the logs.
I got it. It's kind of a debugging tool. So one is kind of tracing is kind of a debugging. We can check it.
Operations and logs. Go to system, operations, logs.
Okay.
Logs will be displayed here. So go logs, log files, and download the Pega logs. Set the how many number of pages you want to see. Number of lines you want to see, remove the contextor. Now this is the logs for your thing. All the logs. This is today. This is Java logs only. You can see it's not a Pega logs, it's kind of Java logs. So you give you some
so the production. So we may have to look into these logs to find out the root cause of the issue.
Log in as administrator and you need to do this one, or else you can go for SMA, system administrator tool. Anyway, you need to have admission privilege. Without admission privilege, you can't do anything. Sorry, not this one. Operations, SMA is there. So here also logs will come, I believe. I think this won't work on this browser. You need to log in with IE again. So anyway, we'll discuss that SMA in a different topic. Okay, this is how you can open the logs as administrator, and you can see with your time everything will be just like a Java logging. Time, what is the action, any errors, everything will be some exception comings. We'll see it will give something like this. So
here also, is there any way to filter out the standard logs, and can we see only our activity related logs, custom activity related logs?
So here you cannot.
Our custom rules or implementation rules.
So custom rules generally won't. I mean, if something is running, something is if you are not doing anything extra logging, so it will all this is system information only. Pega logs. With our application, we are not doing anything. Okay. But here you cannot have. We don't have filters. But here you can see whichever you need, you can go ahead. If you want only alerts, you can go for alerts. So if you want to see the performance related issues, you can go for alerts. And Bixby is for reporting purpose, that is different. So most of the times you need to go for here only. And if you want to trace it, you can see filter by, you can do by what we know, person wise. I mean, if you want to know your application,
this log will print like our log files, like error log, information warning. Is there any categories like that?
Everything is same. There were many difference here.
Is it just like the log file?
Yes, internally they will use some logging mechanism only. iLog, they will use iLog, something like that. You can see error, warning, info. everything will be there.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll continue the class tomorrow. We'll stop it here today, and maybe it will take 2 more sessions, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, and Santosh, so can we discuss about the agents and reports
Yeah,
also, right?
agents. Yeah, agents will discuss. Pardon, agents, and then saying something.
Reports.
Yeah, reports. Those things we'll discuss. That's what we'll take 2 more sessions. Next
Yeah,
session we'll discuss about agents and reports, and after that we'll discuss about documentation deployment. And we'll wrap it.
yeah, yeah. Documentation, deployment. What is it? Version check-in, checkouts. Also, please show me
Checking
in detail.
what we already what
Yeah, we
that is what
already covered as part of the web generation migration. So tell me
I
again.
mean at that time we do. Yeah, I will tell again. No problem.
Hmm? Okay.
Yep. Okay
Thank you
then.
so much,
Okay.
Shivash. Have a great day.
Yep. Okay, 1 minute, Vaishnavi.
Yeah, sure.
Hello, yeah, Subha. Okay.